You're about to get 5 tips that are guaranteed to make your fishing experience while on vacation in Florida an enjoyable time. So stay tuned and don't miss out. 2 years ago, I took my first trip to Walton County, Florida. I loved it so much down there. We ended up buying a house, and in the last 2 years, we have been back to visit over 9 times. Over that time, I've learned a lot of things the hard way about fishing down there, so I thought I would share what I learned with you guys to see if I could help you out and shorten your learning curve. So here's 5 tips to help make your fishing experience more enjoyable while you're in Florida.
Gotta watch where you're going, honey. Woo!
Okay, let's get to the first tip. Number 1, you need to plan ahead but be flexible. You want to have a plan, but you also want to have a backup plan. You need a plan A and a plan B. In Florida, the weather can change on a dime and completely screw up the fishing or mess up where you're wanting to fish. You need to have your initial spot, but also have a backup. So if the first place falls through due to a number of different conditions or factors, that you have a fallback plan. Then you can just immediately head over there. You don't have to waste time trying to figure out where you're going to go or what you're going to do. If you're on vacation, you've just got a limited amount of time to fish, so you want to make the most of it. Tip number 2. Know the conditions or factors that can affect your fishing. There's a long list of things that can really affect the fishing. We'll start with weather. The temperature can be something that you didn't expect. You can have rain, lightning, wind. All of these can affect your fishing negatively or affect your ability to enjoy fishing. Water conditions can affect your fishing. Factors such as water clarity, the amount of swimmers in the area you want to fish, the amount of jellyfish. If there's a jellyfish alert and there's a ton of jellyfish up close to the beach, you're not going to want to wade out to cast. If you got a double red flag warning, you're not going to be able to wade into the water to cast. Another factor is time constraints. You're on vacation, so you've just got a limited amount of time. You're going to have other things going on, family obligations. There's only a limited amount of daylight. All of these things are going to limit the amount of time that you get to fish. So you need to consider all of those factors. You need to consider your access to the area. Is it a park you're fishing? If so, does it have a curfew? Is it a pier? If you're going to the pier, you need to know if the pier has a closing time or if it's open 24 hours. You also need to know where the parking is going to be for any of these places. Parking for the beach, parking for the bay, if you're going to fish a bridge, if you're going to fish a pier. Parking's an integral part. If you got to park 2.5, 3 miles away and walk all that way with your gear and then fish and then got to walk all the way back, that's going to cut into your fishing time greatly. So you need to keep an eye on all these factors. Tip number 3, check conditions constantly. You want to start monitoring the conditions before you leave on vacation. You want to have an idea of what the weather's going to do, traffic's going to be like, depending on the time of year you go. And once you arrive in Florida, you're going to want to keep monitoring the conditions right up until it's time for you to go fishing. And then even after you get there and you're fishing, you're still going to want to monitor certain conditions like weather and time. There's several ways to monitor these conditions we just talked about. I think the internet is probably going to be your best friend when it comes to monitoring conditions. Tons of weather apps and websites out there. 30 Miles Out has a great video called Ty's 5 Best Weather Apps. He goes into detail about the apps that he uses to keep track of the weather, to plan his trips, and while he's on his fishing trips. I'll put the link above. You can click on that after you're done with this video. Another internet-based way to monitor conditions is through fishing groups or online fishing forums. Facebook has tons of fishing groups. You can get on there and discuss with people what the conditions are. There's a lot of people willing to help you on there. They give you advice on fishing. You can even ask them where to go, what places are hot right now. There's a lot of great, helpful people that are willing to help people that are coming in from out of town. Tackle shops are another great place to get information on the conditions. By phone or just dropping in and talking to them. That's a good way to find out what's biting, what's been working in the area. A lot of times they'll give you some good places to go fish, but just drop by and talk to them, ask them for some information. Most of the time they'll give you some really good info at the tackle shops. They want to help you. Tip number 4, recon the area before unloading. Number 4 is probably the biggest one for my wife. She usually ends up having to help me haul all of the gear, and then when we get all the way down there and find out that we got to turn around and haul it all the way back, she's usually not too happy. I've made this mistake many times, and it's not a fun one. Just like in this video, we loaded up a kayak and a beach cart to the hilt, hauled it all the way down the parking lot, down the beach, around into the Destin Pass, only to find out once we got there that it was unfishable because there was so much grass on the outgoing tide coming out of the bay that you couldn't even keep a line out for 30 seconds without it loading up with grass and ending up on the shore. Take 5 minutes, get out, walk down to the spot you're going to fish. Make sure everything is good. There's a lot of things that you need to look for. If you're going to the beach, you don't want to go down there and fish if there's surfers everywhere and there's nowhere to fish without getting your lines tangled up with them. You don't want to go down there if there's June grass or seaweed washing up on the shore. Your lines are just going to get gummed up and it's not going to be an enjoyable fishing experience. There could be swimmers everywhere, or it could just be too crowded, too many people on the beach in that area for you to fish. Think there's a bridge you want to fish. Park, you unload your stuff, you get up to the bridge, well, there's no fishing sign on the bridge. Or if you're going to a pier, some people don't like to fish around crowds, don't like to be crowded. Piers are notorious for being crowded with fishermen. So if you like fishing in peace and solitude, you would probably want to make sure that the pier isn't overcrowded before you hauled all your stuff up there. Number 5, come prepared. There's nothing worse than being out in a secluded spot, realizing you don't have what you need to catch fish. Whether that's the right rod and reel, the right lures or bait, or gear. You want to make sure you're dressed for the season. If it's the middle of August, you don't want to be in heavy jeans and long sleeve shirt. Dress appropriately for where you're going to be. Or if it's cool or it's the night and it's going to be cool, make sure you bring something to stay warm. Always have sunscreen. Keep your sunscreen with you all the time. Keep it on. Nothing can ruin a vacation faster than a good nasty sunburn. Probably the number one thing that people don't have when they're fishing on vacation in Florida that they realize they need are fish grips and pliers. You use the fish grips to lip the fish because most fish in the ocean, you don't want to stick your finger in their mouth. They've got sharp teeth and it will ruin your trip. So you're going to need something to hold the fish. Then you're going to need something to get the hook out of the fish's mouth. Aluminum pliers are my choice. They don't rust. They're light. They're usually, you can find them fairly cheap. So if you've got a pair of fish grips and a pair of pliers, then you should be good for dehooking your fish. Because you never know if you're going to hook up with a Spanish mackerel on the beach, or you could hook up with a small shark or something in the bay. And trying to get a hook out of a shark's mouth without fish grips or pliers is not fun. Well, that's it for the tips. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps somebody out, makes your fishing a little bit more enjoyable. Then it was well worth it. This last video that's been playing is of a trip I made to the bay to fish because the day before the surf was full of grass. So I didn't go check the surf. I just went that evening straight to the bay and decided to do a little shark fishing in the bay. So you can see what I caught, which was nothing. Something took a bite out of one of my bonita. But later that night I found out that the grass had cleared out of the surf and guys were catching blacktip sharks on spinning gear all evening. So by not checking it out or going down there and seeing if the grass had cleared, I wasted a total evening fishing. So if I would have followed my own rules that night, I might have had a great night fishing for sharks in the surf. So I hope these help you. Good luck fishing in tight lines. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the video, and comment below and let me know what you think. Thank you.